Hey, what's up guys, it's LEGO Hobo910 here with another LEGO video. And in this video I'm reviewing set number 70836, Battle Ready Batman and Metalbeard from the LEGO Movie 2. So let's get right into the review. Our first build is this little star build, which is scattered among some of the LEGO Movie 2 sets, along with Heart, and it's just two pieces. A 2x2 printed tile with this face on it. And then this new star base, which is pretty cool. This is actually the first set that I have that has a star in it. And it has this kind of circular base, which allows you to attach it in, at, infinitely many angles, as it can spin however much you want. Also, this just looks pretty cool. And then it's very useful as something simple for your protagonist to fight against. So you don't have to include another minifigure or anything, you can just throw in two more pieces. And it works, and it looks good. And also, you can't tell me that face isn't adorable. So here is Batman's little throne-like build, and you may remember this from the movie, except this was a huge thing, this sign being giant. They scaled this down, though, which I don't think is too bad, because if they were to make it in scale, or at least close to in scale, it would be a $100 set for something that was in the movie for like 2 seconds and really wasn't that important. So I think it's fine that they just scaled it down and put it in this small set. And this is a printed tile as well, which is nice. There are no stickers in this set. Then on the back here, you have a little gear system, so you can turn the gear to either, like have the sign down and hidden and then pop it up. Or if you want to move the sign side to side, you can. Then there's just a big pre-molded rock piece there, with a ladder leading up to the throne, as well as these two large bat wings, which are at interesting angles thanks to this Y connector. And then if we move Batman here, you can see his seat, which interestingly enough has jumper plates, so that way his cape doesn't get smushed behind him. And then there's just two katanas there, as kind of armrests or spikes to look cool. And also, something else that's suggested on the box is you can also have him stand up there if you don't want him to be sitting down. Overall, I think it's a fairly simple build, but it does its job and just adds a little more to the set. Here is the main build of the set, which is on LEGO.com officially described as the Metalbeard Crab Mech, which I think is an interesting name for it. It doesn't really look too much like a crab for me. I get where they're coming from, but I don't know, personally I think it's just kind of more like a scrap version of Metalbeard. If you look in all the LEGO movie sets, you can see that Metalbeard comes in different versions. Like, there's the one set focused on Metalbeard where he's just a giant bike. There's this one where he's a crab mech. Then there's one where he's just the chest and the head. And then also there's the polybag, which is similar to this, except basically this build scaled down. And I don't remember once in the movie when Metalbeard actually looked like this, but then again, I've only seen it once. I think this might have been in the beginning when they first get attacked, so I don't exactly remember. But anyway, I think this is a cool-looking version of Metalbeard, and it's also pretty fun. It definitely kind of has a combination of his original steampunk style and the post-apocalyptic style, where they it's meant to look all scrap. I like the use of these old castle orc swords here for the legs. It gives these cool kind of claw looks, as well as making them look kind of scrapped and salvaged by having those chips. And then he also, and 3 of his legs are that. And then he also has this one peg leg here, which uses golden telescope, which I think is pretty neat. And then there's this kind of saw arm, which I guess you could consider the 4th leg. And then this sword arm, which we could consider the 5th leg, even though really you only use these 4 to get him to stand up, because this really doesn't provide too much in the way of balance, and you can't really even reach the sword to the ground properly unless you bend the mech way over to one side. But then he also has these 2 little claw arms, which I think are kind of funny because they're very useless and he can't really reach anything. They're basically like little T-Rex arms. And then on the back here, he has a big ol' mast here with a crow's nest, which you can actually put another minifigure in, if you wish. And then that can also bend and move around. It's on a ball joint, so it's fairly posable. And then there's Metalbeard with the same face, helmet, and beard that he's been using since the LEGO Movie 1. He, of course, then has the steampunk pipes there. And if we bend this back, and then we can open up the chest, where inside is the bone and the sausage piece to represent his internal organs, which is one of the few things that survived, including his head. So overall, I think this is an interesting looking thing, as well as just a pretty fun and unique thing, and it's definitely worth it for the $20 price to be getting this, as well as the other build I showed you, and all the minifigs. Speaking of minifigs, let's move on to those. So the set comes with 2 minifigures, which I think is a fair amount for a $20 set. Also, taking into consideration that it comes with 2 more characters, Metalbeard and Star, although they are brick built. So I think 2 minifigs is a good amount. On the left, we have the battle-ready Batman, kind of his post-apocalyptic version. Then on the right, we have Maddox, who is basically just kind of a generic post-apocalyptic person who they decided to name. Let's start with Maddox first, since he's the most simplistic one. I believe his head was used in the most recent Castle line. Then he has one of these new pauldrons from the Lego Movie 2 sets, which comes in various sets. I think it's a pretty cool and useful pauldron piece. Then he just has a generic dark gray sphere, as well as his legs are in 2 different colors, which I think is interesting. One brown, and then one being a dark gray, a dark metallic gray. And I also like his torso print, because it looks cool, but it's also useful in other contexts than just Lego Movie 2 Post-Apocalyptic Bird. It can be used in all sorts of places. For example, you could use it as a miner, a lumberjack, a rock climber, and that's just for, like, generic city things. I could also see people using it in various video game-inspired mocks. So I really like that torso. I think it's pretty useful. And then his legs also have a bit of printing. I especially like the toe printing on the left leg. Now moving on to Battle Ready Batman. He has the same cowl which he has in the Lego Movie and Lego Batman movie sets. Then he comes with 2 batarangs, interesting enough. As well as he has the Lego Batman movie belt piece. And then this kind of torn cape here, which actually also extends over onto the front. You can see a bit under the shoulder pads there. And speaking of the shoulder pads, there's this huge armor piece with the kind of cool-looking bat symbol. It's at a slight angle, as well as not being kind of your generic bat symbol. I think it looks pretty cool as well. And then the coolest thing about this armor is these, the shoulder parts that are supposed to look kind of like cut tires. And the most interesting part about it, though, is that the tire parts here, you might be able to see it on camera. It's easier if you just, like, have the set in hand. These are actually slightly rubberized, and the rest is just normal plastic. So that way it actually feels like he cut tires and then attached them on there. So I think that's pretty neat. But now in order to see basically any of his printing, I have to take off all the armor and the belt and the helmet and everything. So before we take a closer look at the stripped down Batman, here's the cape, which I thought you might think is a bit interesting. As you can see, that's where the head goes. And then there's a lot that drapes over the front. So then here is the minifigure itself with all the stuff taken off. The head just being a pretty generic Lego Movie and Lego Batman movie head with the 2 facial expressions, one being mad and the other being confused. And in case you've never had a Batman or don't know, I figure I should point this out for those of you who don't know. He has a black headband there with the white eyes, and the reason for that is because the eyes on the Lego minifigure don't line up with the cowl correctly, and if they were to make it line up with the Lego Movie and Lego Batman with the black headband with the white eyes printed on, so that way they can give him more facial expressions than just the eyes full. So anyway, moving on to the rest of the prints. I really like the torso print there with the shoulder pad and the strap coming down. And once again, that print could be used in more than just Lego Batman post-apocalyptic Berg setting. That could be used in any post-apocalyptic setting, not just Lego Movie 2, as well as, I don't know, I'm sure many people can find creative uses for it. And then also the legs, not necessarily Batman specific, they can be used in other places. Once again, I like the toe printing. When they have toe printing, it just adds a bit more quality to it, as it's something that you don't see that much. I'm glad that both minifigs in the set do have toe printing. So overall, I think the minifigure selection is pretty good, with, of course, Batman being the coolest, with, you know, all his various armor and cape pieces, as well as I'm a sucker for Batman variants. overall, I think this is a pretty cool set, and the $20 price point for it is really good, as you get this small build, as well as this pretty interesting Metalbeard crab mech, and then getting another star is always useful, as well as the minifig selection being good, with the Battle Ready Batman looking awesome, and just having cool pieces overall, and then Maddox here just being a nice kind of extra inclusion. So, yeah, overall I think this is a good set, and the price for it is especially good. That's all from me for now, and bye.